So good afternoon all of you. So Dr. Mansi has nicely presented the role of monotherapy with EGFR TKI in EGFR mutant positive NSCLC. So my job here is to discuss the role of combination therapy. What are the different combination therapies we have right now available? So just a background, we as a medical oncologist all love to give osimertinib in EGFR mutant NSCLC. There are three reasons behind that. It is a very well tolerated drug. We have seen it hardly has any toxicity. It is an oral treatment, generally preferred by the patient over the IV treatment. And generally it has a very good outcome. We have seen many patients taking osimertinib for around 3, 4 and even 5 years and they are hardly having any issues. But problem with osimertinib is its cost. It's definitely affordability is an issue with osimertinib. Out of I will say 100, only 5 patients can afford osimertinib. And this problem is not going to get solved in next 10-12 years because patent is still there till 2035. So if not osimertinib, what are the alternative options we have? Maybe with similar outcome. So there are two options we have: gefitinib plus chemotherapy, and second is TKI plus bevacizumab. So we'll try to see the data for each of these combinations one by one. So what's the why TKI plus chemotherapy? So this combination is not random. So there is a scientific rationale for that. And it has been suggested that when chemotherapy is combined with EGFR TKI, they act synergistically by inducing apoptosis, by suppressing AKT and extracellular signal regulated kinase phosphorylation, which delay the resistance. And also oral TKI decreases the thymidine synthesis level, which further enhances the prematicide efficacy. So when you combine both of these regimen, it's likely to have better outcome. So we'll see the data for it one by one. So this is a famous study from our own DMH group by Kumar sir, Vijay sir and all the other authors. So this was a randomized phase 3 study of gefitinib versus gefitinib plus chemotherapy, that is PEM carbo chemotherapy in EGFR mutant lung cancer. So this trial was published in JCO 2019. So this is the trial schema. So in this trial they have included stage 3 and stage 4 recurrent NSCLC patient, chemotherapy names of all the treatment name, and EGFR mutation positivity was required. So they have included patient with PS less than or equal to 2 and asymptomatic brain mets were allowed. So these patients were randomized to receive combination of PEM carbo plus gefitinib versus single agent gefitinib, and treatment was continued until the disease progression. Primary endpoint was PFS and second endpoint was OS, toxicity and QOL. So why this trial is important for us? Because this trial represents our real world clinical scenario, how the patient present to us, because a lot of times we see patients with metastasis, a lot of times we see patients with rare mutations and even ECOG PS2. So this trial was the trial which included patients with PS2. And if you see the patients included in the trial, almost 20% of the patients were PS2, which is not seen in other studies we have seen with EGFR targeted therapies. So that's why this trial represents the real world clinical scenario. So now coming to the outcome. So if you see the median PFS, it was almost doubled with combination, that is 16 months versus 8 months with a hazard ratio of 0.51. Even if you see the OS data at the demo publication, it was not reached, OS was not reached in the combination. It was only 17 months with gefitinib, and again hazard ratio of 0.51. So the trial meets its primary endpoint and there was almost doubling of the PFS with combination therapy. If you see the 18-month OS rate, it was around 47%. With monotherapy, almost 25% increase was there at 18-month OS, with that is 74% in combination therapy, and even PFS2 was also better with combination, that is 23 months versus only 14 months with the monotherapy. Even overall response rate was significantly better. Here you can see it was 75% with the combination and only 62% with the monotherapy. Now coming to the subgroup analysis, here you can see almost each and every subgroup of the patients benefited, and notably I will highlight here brain metastasis patient also benefited, and even patients with ECOG PS2. So many times we see in routine practice the patients have performance status borderline, that is PS2, and even this group of patients benefited with the combination therapy. So that says that every patient is getting benefited with the combination therapy. So this combination therapy definitely is better in terms of outcome, but it always comes at the price of toxicity. So there was almost doubling of the clinically relevant toxicity from 25% to 51%, and the most common toxicities were chemotherapy induced myelosuppression and nephrotoxicity. FN rates were around 11%, but only one patient had death because of the toxicity. Fatigue was not statistically different in the trial, but in routine practice we see many patients have complaint of fatigue with this combination therapy. So similar to our Indian study, there was a study from the Japan, that is NHE009 study, and this was the trial design was fairly similar to our study, but in this trial they have included patients only with PS021. So PS2 was categorically excluded from this trial, and otherwise this was a similar trial, and the primary outcome was PFS, PFS2 and OS. So initial publication was done in 2020, and here we can see the outcome. The PFS again here was almost double from 11 month to 20 month with the combination. PFS2 was also better, and even OS at the primary analysis it was looking better. Median OS was 50 months with the combination versus only 38 months with the monotherapy with a hazard ratio of 0.72. But when the final data was analyzed and it was published in 2022, so PFS benefit was maintained, but the OS was benefit was lost, and there was no statistically significant benefit. But still there was a trend towards the OS benefit, that is OS was 49 months versus 38.4 months. So that means definitely there is a PFS benefit to the combination. So OS data, one trial is negative, our Indian study is awaited, mature data is awaited. So again the overall response rate was better with the combination here also. So this is the same thing, both the trials constantly show there is a PFS benefit with the combination therapy as compared to the monotherapy. So now coming to the next combination, that is TKI plus bevacizumab. So first I will present here the data of NAG026 study. So this was a trial compared the erlotinib with erlotinib plus bev as a first line therapy in a single group of patients. And here the primary endpoint was PFS and the secondary endpoint was OS, tumor response, duration of response and quality of life. So now coming to the results of this trial, here you can see the PFS data. So again similar to the previous combination, here erlo plus bev has a better PFS, 16.9 months versus 13.3 months with a hazard ratio of 0.61. So trial meets its primary endpoint. But when the updated data was presented in 2022, there was no OS benefit. So numerically it was better, 50.7 months versus 46.2, but it was not statistically significant. So again, OS benefit is not there, but still PFS benefit is there. There was one more study, that is a relay study, which has compared erlotinib monotherapy with erlotinib ramucirumab combination. So if you see the inclusion criteria in this study, they have excluded patients with brain mets. So again, they have included only patient with PS021. In the previous study, they have included patient PS2 also, like Indian study. But if you see the final number of patients included, only 2% patient had PS performance status 2. So almost 98% of the patient had only PS021. So although their inclusion criteria included PS2 patients, but there were very few patients of performance status 2 included in the study. In this study, they excluded PS2 patients and even with brain mets. And it was again randomized study. So again coming to the PFS outcome, so PFS was significantly better with the combination, that is 19.4 months versus only 12.4 months with the monotherapy with a hazard ratio of 0.59. If you see the PFS outcome by the different type of mutation, so both the mutations, that is exon 19 and exon 21, benefited. But if you see the hazard ratio for exon 21, it was 0.61, and for exon 19 it was 0.65. So I think this is one of the regimen where we are getting slightly better outcome in exon 21 mutation positive, which is in contrast to the osimertinib, where we have seen osimertinib is not doing good in exon 21 patients. So if you see the interim OS and PFS2 data, again this is not reached, the data is not mature, but if you see the hazard ratio is 0.8 and it is upper limit is crossing the line of unity, so that means it is not still statistically significant and we need to have a mature data before we say anything. So if you summarize all the first line combination therapy in one slide, if you see this table, across the trials the PFS is ranging from 16 months to 19 months around with different combination. But if you really try to compare the outcome in terms of hazard ratio, still osimertinib wins the race. For osimertinib, it was 0.46, so it is the best hazard ratio we have in first line setting. But if you see BEM carbo plus gefitinib combination in both the trials, it was 0.49 and 0.51. So again, this 0.51 from Indian study came even after including the PS2 patients. So that means definitely this combination of BEM carbo gefitinib is really giving us a good outcome with very in a cost effective manner, because it is really cheap as compared to the osimertinib. So what's now we have new in 2023 in this domain. So we have a data for that. So yes, we have a phase 2 study, that is a OPAL study. This was published last year in 2022. This is a small study of 66 patients, where they have, this is a single arm study, not a randomized study, but they have divided the patient in two cohorts. One cohort was PEM-CIS plus osimertinib, other cohort was PEM-carbo plus osimertinib, and the maintenance with pemetrexed and osimertinib was allowed. And the primary endpoint of this study was safety and response rate, and secondary endpoint was CR rate, disease control rate, and the PFS. So if you see the outcome of this study, here you can see at the 24-month cutoff PFS, the PFS rate was 70%, which was very high, and the median PFS reported in the study was 31 months. So it was quite high as compared to the osimertinib alone. It was only 18.6 months in the FLORA study. So this combination really seemed to be very effective. Even 24-month OS was 92%. So that's why we are awaiting this phase 3 trial of FLORA 2, which is comparing the chemotherapy plus Tagrisso combination, that is osimertinib as compared to osimertinib alone. And there is a recent press release by AstraZeneca in May 2023, where they have mentioned this combination is demonstrating strong improvement in the PFS as compared to the monotherapy, but still final results are not yet out. So at last, we have another combination, that is TKI plus EGFR antibody. So lazertinib is a new third generation ven-penetrant highly selective EGFR TKI, and there are many preclinical studies which have shown that when you combine lazertinib with the amivantamab, which is a EGFR antibody, this combination demonstrates a strong improvement in the anti-tumor activity because it blocks both the extracellular domain and the catalytic EGFR domain. And there was a phase 1 Chrysalis trial which included 45 patients post progression on osimertinib, but these were chemotherapy and with this combination there was a response rate of around 36% with a duration of response 9.6 months, which was quite encouraging. That's why this trial is undergoing. There is Chrysalis 2, which is a multi-cohort dose escalation and expansion study. In this multi-cohort study, the results of cohort A is out, in which they have included patient progressed on osimertinib and platinum-based combination chemotherapy treated with the lazertinib and amivantamab combination. So if you see the outcome of this cohort A, the overall response rate in this study was 33%, median duration of response was 9.6 months, and the PR rate was 32% and the stable disease was 43%. So that means almost 1/3 of the patients were getting benefited with this combination, with a median PFS of 5.1 months and OS of 14.8 months. So this data looks very promising. When we are treating heavily treated patients, there we hardly have any options. So based on this, there are another few studies going, that is Mariposa phase 3 trial, Mariposa 2. So Mariposa is assessing amivantamab plus lazertinib dual combination as a first-line therapy, and the Mariposa 2 is a triplet combination of amivantamab, lazertinib, pemetrexed, carboplatin post progression osimertinib. So this data is still awaited. So at last, what I will say, the days for single agent therapy is gone, and now the present is a combination therapy that we need to combine two therapies. And the triplet therapy, I think the data is not mature for this triplet combination therapy, so we have to wait for the final results. But I think future may be in this triplet combination. So we have to choose wisely. So even if you are a voter or a medical oncologist, you have to choose wisely when you decide your therapy or board. Thank you.
Thank you, Samir. And I request everyone to join for a lunch, and please come back quickly as we are running late by 15-20 minutes.